Something very exciting has just been delivered to the What Life. We have a brand new Absolute Black hollow cage, and this is the version 2.0, so it has a few upgrades. Today we're going to take a look at it, set it up on my bike, and we're going to take it out for a ride. Guys, welcome back to the What Life. Let's roll. So this is the version 2 of the Absolute Black hollow cage. And before we dive into it, I'm just going to let you know, I've been running the version 1 on my rim brake bike for the last year and a half. Every single Zwift race I've ever done has pretty much used the Absolute Black hollow cage, and it's just been on there for like the last 18 months. I've also been taking that bike outside. So I am no stranger to the hollow cages. And I will say the one thing that attracted me to these in the first place was quite simply how they looked. For me, just this little hollow nature of the rear pulley wheel made it look very cool, and that's basically what I wanted to bring to my bike. There are a few features of an OSPW that kind of make it more efficient, in theory make it faster, in practice I guess make it faster, but your watt savings are like maybe 2 to 3 watts. The fact that your chain has a slightly wider chain line and it's not quite so narrow makes it more efficient, allows it to travel a little bit easier. It's the same reason that pros use a nice big front chain ring, because it is actually slightly more efficient, but again your watt savings are tiny. However, your style savings are huge, and I think that these actually make a very cool addition to a bike, and often I tend to find that people gravitate towards OSPWs just because they like the way they look. So for me, this was the one that caught my eye, which is the hollow cage. So obviously there's the hollow nature of the OSPW, and I thought once it's on the bike, I just really liked the way it looked. So what's the differences between version 1 and version 2? So it's made out of a carbon fiber polymer matrix, and it uses injection molding. This is interesting because it's the same process, or injection molding is the same process that Shimano used to make their Dura Ace rear derailleurs, the hanger part, and it's the same way that SRAM make their red rear derailleur hangers, the little part that keeps the jockey wheels attached to the rear derailleur. So injection molding is definitely a familiar way for people to create rear derailleur or rear derailleurs or OSPWs. So that is not anything new. The reason they use it is because it allows you to make these kind of intricate shapes. And Absolute Black, one of their key features, which is written in the kind of documents that they share with you, is that this is a one-piece monoplate, and that gets detailed on the box, on the inside of the box when you open it. So effectively what you have are 2 jockey wheels attached to a monoplate, one singular plate that uses injection molding to create it, which allows them to create the design on it. The second key feature that makes it slightly different to the original one is it still has the same kind of pattern and design of these little imprints on the monoplate. However, the first one is matte. Gen 2 is a little bit more gloss and really lets you see the carbon fiber. And that is kind of like a style change to it. There is a slight difference kind of just by eye on the width of the monoplate, but I'm not going to dive into that because I'm not necessarily, or I'm not even necessarily, I'm just not an engineer. They have taken it upon themselves, due to things that have gone on in the past, to verify the ceramic nature of 2 things. Firstly, they have verified and had this independently tested. I will put the results up on the screen. They've verified the ceramic nature of the ball bearings that sit within the bearing races on the hollow part of the rear derailleur, or the OSPW. So those have been verified as ceramic. The second thing that they've had verified as ceramic is the bearing races themselves. The 2 little strips of ceramic that hold the ball bearings in between, that allow the hollow cage basically to function as it is. So those have both been independently verified, and when I was chatting to the brand, they were very keen to impress upon the cycling world that those are in fact ceramic, and they've been verified as ceramic. I will say that Absolute Black have sent me this to check out and to set up on my bike. My original one that I had on my rim brake bike was for a Shimano, this one is for a SRAM, and they're slightly different in terms of fitting or application onto your rear derailleur, but in essence, the product itself is basically the same. You just have a slightly different kind of mechanism that joins it to the rear derailleur. So I'm going to set this up on my bike. Oof, one last thing. I know people might ask, how much does it weigh? So I thought I'd chuck it on a scale, and you can see that it's about 65 grams, which isn't too bad. I actually don't know whether that's good or bad. I don't know. So I'll let you guys decide, but I thought people would ask, so I would include it. The last thing to point out is that, as with the Gen 1 model, you have this obviously design part to the hollow cage. This bit can be bought in various different colors. This is kind of like a rainbow iridium kind of reflective color. I have it in the black as well, which I think is very cool. And I think there's a few other colors that you can get. So when you purchase these, you can basically choose which color you go, and it can match your bike. But like I said, my whole reason behind getting one is for my SLC, I'm going to be running one of these with a black version for the hollow cage, which I think will look quite cool. Just adds a little bit of style. And as you can see behind me, there's no chain on my bike, and I have taken the rear derailleur off because we're going to fit it now, and I'm going to take you through that very, very quickly, and then we're going to take it out for a ride. Guys, I love the look of it. I think it looks cool. I think it's a talking point at the club. I don't buy these because they save watts. I think even though I do need extra watts when I cycle, it's not the reason I've ever kind of been interested in an OSPW or a hollow cage. And for me, the one thing is just simply the style, and I think it looks very cool. Let's get this on the bike.
J like the letter, I'm making several waves. I know the mission is same. I made a splash, now all of my passes last like running a race with Usain. I keep it coming like this a buffet. And if I'm stumbling, I'm in the graves. Never gon' fumble it. I get the bag and I run with it, gunning it, gunning it, gunning it, gunning it. Murray with the legs, all about finesse. I am not impressed. I don't need a rash coming in with blast, then you see the flash. Elohim with the melody and the piece of pot of bread.
So I wouldn't necessarily suggest doing it whilst your bike is on a hanger on the wall, but we've done it. The one thing I will say, as you might have seen, is we probably need to now index it a little bit and just reset that low limit screw on the rear derailleur specifically, because it's slightly longer now, and just to make sure that the kind of OSPW doesn't end up going into the spokes. So readjusting and resetting your low limit screw is incredibly important, because you want to make sure that you avoid an OSPW kind of going into your spokes. You've changed the length of the rear derailleur. So I'm going to get this set up in the stand outside, just re-index it, make sure it runs smooth, and we'll take it out for a cruise. Looks good though.
26, I'm finna run with it. I ain't gon' punt, we ain't taking it in. I keep the starters and we going farther like T.O. and Philly, we throwing it deep. This only possible through all the obstacles. I went ahead and I found me some peace. It's why my reflection is rocking the cheese. J like the letter, I'm making several waves. I know the mission is same. I made a splash, now all of my passes last like running a race.
So we've just smashed a few laps down at Hillingdon to test out the new hollow cage. And I have to say, everything is running beautifully. A little bit of indexing to the gears to make sure it works perfectly, but we've got it all set up nice. Gears clicking through absolutely flawlessly. I think, first and foremost, you get yourself a hollow cage, you get yourself an OSPW. But in my opinion, because they look absolutely awesome, I think the hollow cage just adds another degree of style, especially to this bike, the black hollow cage on a black bike. I think it looks sick, I love it. And now that we've taken it out for a ride, we've set it up, it's working perfectly. A little bit of re-indexing, set my low limit screws just to make sure it doesn't go into the spokes, and I'd recommend you do the same. But this thing works great, shifts great, and we've changed the chain line so that it should be a little bit more economical. I'm not sure whether that's something that you'll necessarily feel on the bike, but as long as the shifting is working perfectly, then you've got yourself, a pretty good product. Guys, thanks for joining in on this one. Let me know what you think of the hollow cage. I know that we will be getting some attention with this bad boy on the bike. Guys, I'll see you guys in another video soon. Bye for now.